are one. Breathe that in and sink deeply into the centermost part of you where there is no doubt that the power and presence of God is within you. And let us pray. I know that spirit is formless and exists in every place, is everywhere present, including right here and right now. Spirit and I are one, and as each one of us says that to ourselves in silence and in conviction, the truth of it emanates in every breath taken. Breathe now. Knowing Spirit and I are one in this service, Spirit and I are one in every moment of life. And in our time together, listening to the wisdom expressed in, as, and through Dr. Edward. Feeling the love exchanged from and to the person next to us, behind us, in front of us. Spirit and I are one, right here, right now. And with the deepest gratitude, I simply accept this as the truth. I know it is so. And I release all words into the activity and the experience of the oneness. So join me in accepting this, affirming this, and claiming it to be, and living it right now by saying together, and so it is.
Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I. Spirit and I are one. Holy, 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 holy. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. One in the Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are one. Spirit and I are
Good morning. Good morning. Wow. Spirit and I are one. Yes?
Amen.
Yes. Well, this rain is cleansing and nourishing everything in our life and in our world today. I am grateful for that. I am grateful to be here at the Center for Spiritual Living Dallas on this beautiful morning and to be your associate minister. And my name is Reverend Karen Fry, if you don't know me. I'm looking forward to know you. Dr. Petra is on vacation, and she is enjoying herself. And I am so grateful to have a beloved friend and colleague, Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen, here on this day, for we are all in for a very sacred and special treat. Dr. Edward's giving the message this morning. He is being the message this morning.
Tell God your problems, He'll help you solve them. Go on and pray about it, believe it and you'll receive. Listening to Spirit's word enhances all of my nerves. Breathe in, let it go.
Quiet now.
Take deep breaths now, real slow.
Calm down.
Hold my eyes,
Soft spoke.
ease my mind.
Take control.
Allowing myself to be is my authenticity. I'm taking good care of me, learning to love me. Now I know and believe love is my therapy. I'm giving me everything, so much I ever could need. God's breathing life into me. Love is my therapy. Love is my therapy. Breathing life into me. Love is my therapy. I sit to quiet my mind. I know it works every time. Inhaling real slow, exhaling, let it go. Stillness feels right. It freezing clears my mind. Yeah, I need it all the time. Breathe in,
Breathe out.
let it go.
Quiet now.
Take deep breaths now, real slow.
Calm down.
Close my eyes,
Soft spoke.
ease my mind.
Take control.
Allowing myself to be is my authenticity. I'm taking good care of me, learning to love me. Now I know and believe love is my therapy. God's given me everything, so much I ever could need. Breathing life into me. Love is my therapy. Love is my therapy. Breathing life into me. Love is my therapy. When I feel like I'm losing power, when I feel like a wilted flower, whispers say I'm here for you. I look into my eyes and say I love you. I'm taking good care of me, I'm learning to love me. Now I know and believe love is my therapy. God's given me everything, so much I ever could need.
Breathing life into me.
Love is my therapy.
Lahoma.
Okay, well, Lahoma wrote this. She wrote parts of it, yes? Parts of this. And when I heard that last service, you know what just occurred to me in that moment is I remember when you were sitting right in that chair during the month that we were talking about the war of art, breaking through resistance, and she said, I am going to write, I am going to sing, and I'm going to bring myself out. And so congratulations on that.
Wow, that was, is this working? Oh, hello. It was so amazing sitting here watching you during that performance. I wish everybody could have a turn to be up here and see that much radiance. It's just wonderful. It's very lovely to be here. All of my Facebook friends in Northern California are quite envious about the rain. So they're asking me to bring it all home with me. But I'm not gonna. You know, I was just wondering about how long it's been that I have known your senior minister, Dr. Viljoen. And I can't be sure, but it's over 18 years. It's most likely 20, which makes me qualified to tell you a few things about her. All right? I would like you to know about this woman that she is among the most admired and respected ministers in the movement Centers for Spiritual Living. Yeah. Because when she speaks on denominational matters, her voice carries an authority that stops people to listen. She's a builder and a shaper, and you know how she is. When she's sure about something, that conviction moves a whole movement. So you got a good one. And talking of good ones, I can tell you that I'm part of the ministerial training program in Northern California in Santa Rosa, where your associate minister graduated. So, yeah. So I know you got a good one. You really did get a good one. There are, however, no returns. And just last week I was there when when Veronica became Reverend Veronica, and that was a beautiful thing to witness. And I'm very happy to be here because I've been asking my colleagues if I can come and speak at their centers. It's kind of embarrassing, you know, say, I've got this book, can I come and talk about it? Because the publishing world has changed. It used to be that you were a celebrity and they flew you around and you had speaking engagement. Not anymore. Now you have to sell it yourself, you know, so you have to call up your colleagues and say, can I please come and speak? And fortunately, Dr. Peter said, yes, you can come. So I'm very pleased to be here. And the way this book came about is I had a conversation with the publisher for Tarcha Penguin, the religious department. And he said, Edward, we'd like you to write a book for us on meditation. And I said, what? Why me? Well, I'm the kind of person who struggles with meditation. I'm always trying to figure out if I'm doing it right. I never know if it's the right sensation or if am I getting it right at all. So I said to him, does the world really need another book on meditation? And he said, Edward, may I remind you that when Tarcha Penguin asks you to write a book, there really is only one appropriate answer. That's thank you. Yes, So I sat down and I thought about it since I now had the task to write a book, and I realized I did know something about meditation because I struggled with it so much and because I was teaching people how to find their way into meditation. I had a substantial amount of information to share about my own falling down along the path. So I started to write that down, and I realized that there were a number of things I was already doing that I just didn't realize that fell into the category of meditation. Everything from singing to listening to music to doing nothing to chanting to this and that. So I got to write the book out. And a friend of mine recently gave me a gold star. He said, Edward, I bought your book because I'm your friend, and I thought it was obligatory to do so. And I didn't realize that I would enjoy it because he said, as I read it, I realized, like you did, that there are many things that I already do that fulfill the practice of meditation, and it meant so much with me that I'm going to take it with me as I leave tomorrow. He was going up Mount Everest. So my book has been to the top of Mount Everest. That's all I've got to say. No, really, I go and I talk to centers like this about meditation and the different forms. And I think the one form that causes people to have a little difficulty integrating is when I talk about the form of meditation called chanting. Because sometimes people don't know how to relate that to Center for Spiritual Living teaching. What's that got to do with metaphysics, they might ask? Well, the fact is that our founder talked about chanting, but he didn't use those words. He talked about affirmations in a very similar way. And here's what he had to say. He said, we're to repeat our affirmations and dwell upon their meaning and meditate upon the spiritual significance of them until our thinking becomes clarified. Isn't that something? We stay on the meaning of the affirmation until it clarifies our thinking. You know, when I first walked into a Center for Spiritual Living, the teacher there said, affirmations are like drops of clear water being dropped repeatedly into a glass of muddy water. So over time, the clear water displaces the mud and clarifies what's in there. Well, I identify that is most certainly my mind is often like a muddy glass of water, don't you know? Anybody else? 6 people. Here's what he continues to say. He says that repeating affirmations is how we lead our mind to that state of consciousness where it accepts that which it wishes to believe. Isn't that something? Not like leading a stray animal. No, it's you lead yourself to that state through repetition. You lead yourself there and you arrive at a place where you can accept it. You land in it. And I understand that because many times my muddy container, the pure drop of water drops in, but I don't see any change. It's not enough. I don't integrate it right away, so I have to stay with it. It takes me a few times, more than just one repetition, to embody a brand new idea. For example, you might come to class like I did, you hear something marvelous, a beautiful teaching, and it resonates with you, but it doesn't stick. You know, I hear in the class, you're whole, perfect, and complete. Yes! We are one. Yes, I knew that. My mind is the center of divine activity within the one. Yes! I live and breathe and have my being within divinity. Yes! And then someone cuts me off on the freeway. Now I forgot. What was that idea again? That I heard just 2 minutes ago. We are one, we are one, we are one. That's it. And so I have to keep on bringing it in. There's the drop of pure water. I've got to keep on dropping it in. So affirmations repeated are like reprogramming the mind, leading it to a place where it accepts that which it wishes to believe. It doesn't accept just any old thing given to it. That's the difference. And then the ideas become so much more powerful when we integrate them. That means we start to live as if they're true. We are one, and I start to act as if it's true. And then, when you add rhythm, and you add music and melody to the affirmations, oh, now you got trouble. Right? Because of the power of rhythm and music to go deep down into our being. Oh, the effect of rhythm and melody on us. It takes the idea so much deeper, don't you know? That people are more inclined to remember the music in a Sunday message than they are to remember the words. So you have, I will now sing the rest of the message. So music and rhythm amplifies the effect of the practice because that's the nature of rhythm. It drives a deep, like a well. It's dropping a well to find the pure water. So I was getting all excited about this idea of teaching people how to chant as a way of meditation, and I wanted to try it out on my people in Santa Rosa, but I didn't know how they would take it. I got a little nervous, so I put this workshop together, prayer, meditation, and mantra, the same one we're going to do this afternoon, as a way of experiencing it. And 300 people showed up. And oh my goodness, did we have a good time. We chanted one of the world's most ancient and most beloved prayers in Sanskrit. It goes like this. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. And I taught them exactly what it means. And I taught them exactly how to pronounce it. And then we did it 108 times. We were high. And this is what it means. And now you'll understand why we got high. Aum means something like, oh, eternal blessed one. Or like our founder would say, Ernest Holmes would call it, the thing itself. Oh, eternal blessed one, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness into light. Lead us from death into immortality. Who wouldn't want to chant that? 108 times, you know, and this beautiful prayer, lead us from darkness into light, it's reminiscent of the prayers of Christianity that have that command, that gentle command form. There's no please or thank you in it. Like in St. Francis' prayer, make me an instrument or at the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. All of them are affirmations said in a direct way. There's no begging in it. It's kind of like in the style of a paramedic who arrives on the scene of an accident and she says, let me through, fully expecting that to happen. She has claimed that. That's what the prayer is about. Ooh. So you come this afternoon, I'll make you high too. And then we completed the evening by using one of Melissa Felipe's chants from her CD, Chants of a Lifetime or something like that. And because to give people an opportunity to chant in English if they had a problem with chanting in a foreign language. And so we used that one. It's just one phrase. I am whole and complete in God. 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 That's one recitation. You try that with me. I am whole and complete in God. 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 That's 2. You see, and so then you count. You either do it 108 times or however many times you want to do. You just use some mechanism to count it. And when we did the Sanskrit one, we used these mala beads. There's 108 beads on, and we used them to count. And one person in the workshop said, you know, I love the whole idea of repeatedly affirming with rhythm and music, but I don't like the beads so much because they remind me of something that I don't want to remember. So I said, well, no worries, we can figure out something else. We're creative, so we devised a system, and we got Tupperware. And I said, here's what you do. Count out 108 beans, and then you do your practice, you see? You go like this. I'm whole and complete in God. See, it's a travel meditation kit. I'm whole and complete in God. I'm whole and complete in God. I'm whole and complete in God. Bean. I am whole and complete in God. 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 I knew you would say that. See, it's the programming element, and that's just exactly what it's like. And she was talking about how that worked for her so much because she started to associate the word bean with the whole phrase, right? Which makes sense. And I saw on Facebook one of our people said she caught on fire with the idea, and she thought, I can finally establish a meditation practice with something that I can engage in, so it's both active and inward. And she went off to the craft store to get her plastic containers, and she wanted beads, and she was on this high, holy mission to set a practice in place to contribute to the world's peace, and then somebody cut in front of her at the cashier, and everything fell. And she's like, oh. So she started to repeat to herself, bean, 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 right? Because the word itself began to represent something larger. It was anchoring her back to her center of peace. Don't you know, as I'm sitting there reading this post, the phone rings. And on the other end is a particularly aggressive telemarketer. And I know right away it's not going to go well. And then I can see my mouth is starting to move. And it's saying things that I know it oughtn't to say that I will regret later. It's going to say things, that mouth is going to say things that does not match my mission for my life. So I start to say on the phone call, bean, bean, bean. I'm not kidding, you know. And all the while I'm on that conversation, I'm realizing at the same time, you know what? I'm doing much better on this phone call than I would say 20 years ago. Because every time I say being, it's anchoring me back to the truth, the center, the clarity. Every time I say being, it won't let me stray too far from the self I say I want it to be. Ah, so beautiful. And I learned something that day. I learned that no matter how spiritual we are, and no matter what practices we have in place, that life will continue to present us opportunities to see if we are sincere. Right? I also learned something I learned that when I repeat something in a chant-like way, like an affirmation, like a statement of truth, and whether I'm counting with a bead or a bean or sitting in a particular place, then the practice, whether it's the bead or the bean or the chair or the melody, it becomes a marker. It now is a shorthand that represents the entire practice. Oh, see, that is the idea of practice. The idea of practice is that you and I will do something over and over again until we become intimately acquainted with every detail of it, so that at a point, any part of it represents the whole of it. Everything refers to it from single part. Like, for example, these beads. I've taken them all over the world. I've taught people in Bali to chant the Gayatri mantra. They've been in India. They've been everywhere. When I pick them up, it's as if I'm picking up that whole history. So sometimes in moments of stress, I can just look at it, and it will inform me of the accumulated practice, and I can find the peace in it. Or if you're one of those people who have practiced meditation in the same chair, the same time, you know already that after a while that chair starts to change. And then there will come a time when it will feel inappropriate to do anything else in that chair, because the chair starts to represent the entire practice. Ooh. There's a website called changingminds.org, I believe that's correct. And on it they talk about this principle of a repetition, saying that if something happens to us or around us often enough, we will eventually become persuaded by it. It's just a matter of time. Because repetition has a very definite effect on human beings. Probably because we like patterns. We do. Patterns help us feel like things are predictable. We like that. And repeating an idea creates a pattern. It makes us comfortable. It affects how we act. You know who knows that? Advertisers. Because they know, sure enough, if we hear something often enough, we are quite likely to accept it as being legit. True. And frankly, our brains don't really like to do the background fact-checking. We'll just assume that because it's everywhere and it's repeated, and we hear it on the radio and on the TV, and that it's legit. And then we are being led into a state in which we accept it as being true. Ooh, that's the bad news. And it brings up the question, right? Side question for today. What have you accepted as being true simply because you've heard it so frequently? And maybe the place where you're hearing it is in your own self-talk. Or another way of asking that same question is, what have you stopped questioning to the point where you've become accustomed to it and now think it's normal? There's an old saying, it goes like this: familiarity breeds... Well, the people at changingminds.org say, no, familiarity breeds contentment, comfortableness, the ability to accept, liking, accepting, believing, liking, accepting, believing, liking. So here's my point. Since our minds accept exactly what we feed it, especially when we repeat it, why not expose yourself to something worthwhile, uplifting, and wonderful until it persuades you to do, be, and act in accordance with it? In other words, why not have some say in the kind of patterns that you immerse yourself in until you accept them as normal? That's the good news. You and I can build a new normal. Technically, that's called a mental equivalent, and it's expandable. It's changeable. getting back to that phone call while I was muttering, bead, bead, bead to myself to anchor me back to the truth. It reminded me that in some cultures, people repeat a chant. Sometimes they use the name of God, one of the names of God, as an anchor. It's a sort of shorthand. They say the name and it anchors them to the whole concept of God. Or they use the name of an inspired teacher to anchor them to everything that that teaching represented. And so I was thinking about some of my Christian friends, I hang out with a lot of Christians, and I imagine them standing in line in that store when somebody cut in front of them. Well, what might they chant? Well, one of them might say, Jesus, 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 Jesus. That's one recitation. And by that they would mean, love one another as I have loved you. Because by this, everyone will know that you are students of my teaching of love. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Try that. Jesus, 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 Jesus. And by that you would mean, and it is your faith that has healed you. Or as our founder, Ernest Holmes, would say, it is done unto you as you believe. Jesus, 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 Jesus. And by that, you would mean, and it is not I, but the power, he called it the Father. It is not I, but the Father within that does all the work. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Or if you are a devotee of Krishna, you would say, Krishna, 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 Krishna. And by that you would mean, and all spiritual paths are valid, and no spiritual progress is ever wasted. Krishna, 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 Krishna. And by that you would be meaning, it is not the form of your prayer that matters. It is the sincerity of your heart. Krishna, 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 Krishna. And by that you would be meaning, and I have created this entire cosmos with but an infinitesimal speck of my divine being. Krishna, 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 Krishna. Or you could use a quality, like one of the qualities we say are qualities of the divine, like love or peace. You could say peace, 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 peace. In Sanskrit, there is a beautiful word for peace. It's Shanti. You often hear it at the beginning or the ends of prayers, preceded by Om and three Shantis. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It's a beautiful word. It means a particular kind of peace, not just regular, ordinary peace where people are just getting along well with each other and not fighting. No. The peace that is the natural state of reality. That's what it means. In fact, it's described in the Bible, don't you know? Philippians 4:6, and I've paraphrased it here to be friendly for metaphysicians. It says this, and do not be anxious about any little thing, but in every situation, pray with gratitude in your heart, and then you will experience the peace of the Creator. And it's a peace which exceeds anything you can understand. And it's a peace that will guard your heart and your mind. And you will live in that consciousness we call the Christ consciousness. Jesus, 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 Krishna, 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 love, 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 peace, 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 peace. My Hindu friends tell me that they say Om Shanti 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 before and after, and sometimes in the middle of prayers as a way. It's an anchor, like the beans, to calm the mind of the person who's praying, and in so doing, removing one of the greatest obstacles that occur in the human condition, the thing that stands in the way of us and our spiritual work, and that is the obstacle of stress, of anxiety, of worry, and nervousness. And the idea is that every time we say that formula, we are joining with generations of people who said it before us. And so it is accumulative. We vibrate with their peace. Isn't that beautiful? What an idea. I'm going to accept that as normal. So I'm going to practice. I'm going to say Om, and you're going to say 3 Shantis. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then I'm going to read to you an adaptation of the Lord's Prayer, and we will put in between it our recitation. So here it goes. Breathe in with me. As you exhale, if you like, you can let your eyes close. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Infinite presence within. Your nature is wholeness and perfection. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You are eternally present everywhere. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And from within me, you guide me. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. For your ways are my ways. Oh, infinite power within. My every need is contained within you. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And as I dwell upon your nature, I am released from all of my previous errors. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And I am able to release the errors of others. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. With my mind centered on you, I am empowered to be all that I can be right now, a worthy channel for good. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And I am strong, and I am courageous, and it is through the power and to the glory of God, which is love, within me. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Within me is joy everlasting. Within me is love ever growing. Within me is peace, peace, peace. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, Shanti, Shanti,